great American fisherman. He'll fish anywhere. Anywhere there's water, Lord knows he'll be there. He's just like a gypsy, mighty hard to hold. The great American fisherman got fishing in his soul. He fished Toll and Okeechobee, Kissimmee and Rodman Hole, Georgia's Lake Lanier, West Point and Seminole, Center Hill and Dale Hollow, good fishing in the fall. Martin and Eufaula, he gon' fish 'em all. Kentucky Lake and Barkley, Sardis, Ross, Burnett, Toledo Bend, Rayburn and Conroe he won't forget. He loved Lake of the Ozark, he loved Table Rock. Bull shows on the White River, he ain't gonna never stop. He's a great American fisherman, he fish anywhere.
Roland Martin is fishing for largemouth bass on Florida's Big Lake Okeechobee. Special guest is lure manufacturer Bobby Ditto.
Okeechobee, there's a lot of ideal spots.
That's one of the problems with fishing on these places.
There's a lot of good spots.
Too many places that are just really, really pretty.
You know, you notice here you have the reeds like you have here, those big round reeds there. And then right over to our left, you have the bulrush type of reed. And they're real good for flipping. They have the little needle grass too, and then this is hydrilla all in the bottom. But I think for today's pattern, Bobby, we'd probably be better off flipping the real big clumps of stuff like we have right behind us.
Well, it looks like most of them has got some heavy mats in them. I like those heavy mats.
Really heavy stuff, all dead stuff, all built in real good. That has some real good, good cover there. And today we're gonna be fishing worms, plastic worms. That's my favorite anyhow. I tell you what, that big
For sure, it's mine.
And we're talking to the worm man, the man that's invented more plastic worms and built more worms. And you got a fine plastic worm, let me tell you. But you know, we got to figure out a little bit about just what kind of plastic worm we're going to fish. What would you recommend for today's fishing?
Well, there's different types. I think probably the first thing that I'd try to decide if I was fishing today, Roland, would be what color.
Okay.
And, you know, I use a color selector in the side net because I think that takes a lot of the guesswork, or just about every bit of the guesswork out of it.
Let me try that color selector right here by these reeds because that'll give us an indication of the bottom conditions right at this spot.
Yes, it will, Roland.
Okay, so
right in the area where you're.
Let me turn it on.
Where you're going to be fishing.
Okay, it's on right there. Hold on to these reeds. I'll drop it down. Right into the
right
next to the
I
reed.
like to go into the darker.
Right next to the reed now.
Where you're going to be fishing, and you know.
Okay, it says red. It's a solid red. It's a good solid red.
Yes, it is.
So I guess we need to use a red plastic worm.
See what that's showing on that inner band is your red colors.
Well, see, we're in clear.
And you got your outer band, see?
We're in clear water.
It's showing the fluorescent colors. So you're showing red there. And let's see what we're looking at. Okay, that's a fluorescent blue on the outside. And the kind of a firetail red is what color that is on that fluorescent band.
Okay.
So you fish the red and I'll fish the fluorescent color combination.
Okay, why don't you show us, now you have a worm pack that's set up with all the color selector colors on it.
Right.
And that would be a good choice.
This is a good beginner's package, Roland.
So it has all the different colors of the worms right in that same package. Okay. Okay, now that's, how many colors in there? 13?
13.
Now, the nice thing about these colors, they don't bleed together.
Well, we use special color, and it makes it a little better. And you can mix them together.
Let me lay these out here on the deck and look at these for a second. Now, you said, okay, that color that's the color.
That's the red, that's the standard solid color red. That's the color that I suggested that you use.
I'll fish that one, okay.
Okay. And then here's the fluorescent blue and red together.
Okay. Well, let me put one on. Well, Bobby, I'm going to hook up a plastic worm for one of those big bass. I mean, we're in big bass country today. I'm telling you what, and I got the tackle for it, too.
I'm ready for them. You're right.
Starting with a big hook. This is that big brute 5/0 hook. heavy-duty 30-pound line. I'm going to take that worm. I'm going to come through Texas style, rig it Texas style, come through the head of the worm 3/8 of an inch, say, pull the eye into the worm, turn the worm around and the hook around so that I penetrate the point right into the body of the worm. Now I have that slip weight pegged, and I'll slide it down. I have it pegged so jigging in this brush, it's...
When you're talking about pegging now, Roland.
I put a toothpick, a little small toothpick.
And that keeps the sinker from sliding up and down the line.
Keeps the toothpick keeps the sinker in position on the worm.
And lets it go down through this heavy stuff
cover.
and pull it down better, right?
Now my favorite combination is this good 7.5 foot flipping stick. It's really a heavy duty one with a good 5-to-1 ratio heavy duty reel with it has the fighting drag feature where when the fighting drag is in position, it locked. It's locked drag, and you can pull them out of the bulrushes with that. Once you get them out of the bulrushes, you flip the drag up, and now you have drag capability.
It goes back to the regular drag setting that you had on to start with.
And one other thing I like in my plastic worm fishing, Bobby, and I know you do too, is a good scent. And I'll take a scent like this one, and I'll put about a drop or two on the plastic worm, just a little bit. That's all you need, a couple drops, and I'm ready to fish. So that's my combination.
Well, let's get at it then.
Okay.
I want them big ones you promised me.
Okay. This is a good looking spot right here. Hey, Bobby, you remember about 20 years ago how we used to plastic worm fish these heavy edges? You know, we'd just throw to the nice open water places where the fish wouldn't get hung up. You know, we're trying to get the fish to come out of these heavy places. We didn't think about fishing then.
Yes, we found out there was a lot of fish around that we wasn't catching, didn't we?
You know, here in Florida, the big bass, you know, when they spawn, they'll get out in an open place, but through most of the year, they're buried up in this thick cover. And until just, say, 5 or 6 years ago, with the advent of flipping, people weren't catching them. I mean, not here on this lake. They were just fishing open water. Now this heavy cover situation is proven to be the home of the big bass.
He's talking about all them big fish he's gonna put me on. I'm waiting on them. Let's see how you live up to your bragging. There he is, Roland.
You going? Hey, you got it. Hey, way to go, Bobby. Hey, that's a big fish. Look at the size of him. Son, look at I'm talking about a big one. Get him, Bobby. Get him. Who's got who?
Hold him out of that stuff or not.
Who's got who?
Yeah, there he went.
He's got you.
He's got me.
Did you have one on?
Yeah, I had. No. I believe that was an alligator.
What the heck happened on that deal?
I don't believe that was a bass. What do you think about that?
That was about 8 or 10 pound bass. Boy, you had him out of there.
Look at that.
You had the whole deal set up. You had a trophy bass, and we lost it right here.
Turned him loose. I ain't believing that.
But you stroked him out of that hole now. That was all right. Oh, I swear to gosh. That was something else. That was a big fish.
That was a good one.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I'm going to get back in there.
Well, you do some of them once in a while that way, Roland.
That was something. Folks, you don't get them all. You know, if we call every fish that bit or every fish that was here, there just wouldn't be many fish left, would there, Bobby?
No.
You're going to lose a few fish. I mean, that's part of the deal. I'll tell you what's tough, though, in a tournament. Now, here we're just fishing for fun.
That's sick, ain't it?
And Bobby fishes a lot of tournament competition. But when you lose an 8-pounder like that one in tournament competition, you want to die.
That's when I don't want to come in, ain't it?
That's like terrible.
You know,
That
the
is
trouble
something.
with tournament fishing, Roland, and you do that, you got a partner in the boat that always tells on you.
I know. I won't say a word. I won't tell a soul that you
No,
lost an 8 or 9,
I
10
can hear
pounder.
you. I can hear you right now. Well, I believe that's ready to get another one.
That was some kind of fish.
That was a sure enough grown up one, wasn't it?
Wow. Oh, there's a strike. There's a strike. I got one now. Man, what are you talking about? Oh, son, look at the size of him. Oh, boy. Hey, I'm talking about a giant one, Bobby. Boy, he's going underneath there. You got the net? There's no net. There isn't any net. Look at the size of him. I'm talking about a giant here. I'm talking about a big bass. Look at the size of that bass. Woo! Son, he's underneath the boat. Can you get him, Bobby?
No, not yet.
Boy, I'm talking about a big one here.
That's a good one.
Boy, I'm talking about a big one. Can you get him out? Whoa, man, I'm talking about one big bass. I'll tell you what, now that is what it's all about.
Right.
That fish is about 8 pounds. That's a tremendous fish. That's a tremendous fish, and he hit right at the corner of that heavy cover. That is one heck of a
You're
nice one.
laying right around that cover when they do that,
He
aren't
is
you?
a beauty. You know, that's the advantage of flipping. You can get into fish like this that are just so big and so nice. He's just a tremendous fish. Now, he's been caught before, Bobby. See, this catch and release program that we've started here at Lake Okeechobee, we're always catching and releasing these fish. Like this one has been hooked before, his mouth is a little deformed, and I'm going to release him again. So he's a perfect bass, but heck, I'll bet he'll go about 8 pounds. What do you think?
At least.
Boy, he's a pretty one. I'll tell you what.
Good,
that's
healthy fish.
One nice fish. He is just a beautiful, beautiful bass. I'm going to let him go and see. There he goes. He's just doing real good. Look at him down there. He doesn't know he's caught. He's released. There he goes.
There he goes. I believe it's the first time I've ever really fished with you, isn't it, Roland?
Well, you know, we fish together in the tournaments, but we're always in a different boat.
Always in a different boat, aren't we?
Yeah. You know, Bobby, flipping has 3 big advantages. I think the first advantage is that this accurate presentation we're giving today. You know, we're dropping that worm just right down in the base of these heavy bulrushes, and it's a very accurate presentation. So that's the first big thing. I guess there's a couple other big advantages to flipping too, Bobby.
Roland, the biggest thing of this type cover that we're fishing, you take a bass the size of a 5-pounder and up, and that's where he's at's in that stuff. You got to have the power and the line strength to really lay on that fish literally as hard as you can pull on him to get him out of there.
And Bobby, another big advantage to flipping is the quiet presentation. You can just real quietly lay it into those bulrushes without making any noise.
There he is.
You got a big one?
Yeah.
Hey, you got a nice one there. Oh, son, what are you talking about? Can you get him out? Boy, you got a big one, Bobby. Man, you got a nice one. Look at the size of him. I'm telling you what, he's a monster. He's going down in the water.
Really hold him out of that stuff?
Hey, I'm telling you, son, that's a
look at
nice
this.
one. Man, are you talking about a big fish? Can you get him?
That's about it.
Go ahead,
Can't
get
believe
him.
I can
He's
get
a
him.
monster bass. Boy, I'm telling you what, he's good. He's a big fish. Look at the size of him. Woo! Son,
There he
you got
is.
one now. I'll tell you what, Bobby, you got another, just a giant fish. This is incredible. This is a really fine day. Boy, we got the perfect
Well, I'll tell you
patterns.
what, that'll make your heart jump up and down, won't it, Roland?
We got the perfect conditions here. I'm telling you, water temperature's about 70 degrees. The pH is right about 8. Everything's fine. The worms are perfect, and I'm telling you what, we're stroking them.
Evidently, the color's right.
The color's right. I'm talking about a day of all days.
Oh, I
it's
got
a
that
good
one
day.
stuck tight, I mean.
Boy, I'm talking about a nice one. You can let him go? You gotta mount him. I'm telling you
Oh,
what.
I got
that fish
some
is over
nice
9
fish mounted. Let's let that one go for another day.
That fish is over 9 pounds. He's a big
Every bit of it, isn't he?
He's a monster. I got a strike. Oh, son. Oh, man, I'm talking about a big one here. I'm talking about one giant fish. I'm talking about one
Holy
giant
mackerel.
son. I'm talking about a real big one here. Oh, I'm talking about a really big fish. Boy, I'm telling you what, he is one hummer, son. I mean, I'm talking about a big one. Oh, I'm talking about 8 or 10 pounds at least. Oh, he's over 10 pounds. He's a monster. He's a monster. We get out of the weeds here. I mean, he is really one big fish. He is one super big fish. Let me come up here and get him. He is one really big one. Woo! Look at this one, Bobby. Man, I'm talking about a big one. Oh, what are we talking about? I'm talking about a giant. Hey, what are we talking about now? Bobby, that's the biggest one I've seen in weeks. I mean, I tell you, that fish is giant.
Look at this.
He's a big fish. He's over 11 pounds. He's just a
Put
huge
mine in
fish.
your hands both in there.
He's
Look
a
at that.
huge fish. Look how big his mouth is. I mean, that's the biggest daggone bass you've ever seen in your life. That is one fine fish. Boy, I tell you what, don't catch many like that. But you
No,
catch them
that's
flipping.
That's a
the main
lifetime,
thing.
ain't it?
That's the main thing. You can catch them when you're flipping, and that is the trick for today's fishing, catching monstrous bass. I mean, Bobby, that is some kind of a big fish. Tell you what, he's such a big one. I'm gonna kiss him, but I'm gonna release him. I mean to tell you, he is gonna deserve to be caught again another day, folks. That is the deal.
You marked the spot where he's at, didn't you?
And folks, if you keep on this good flipping, use a good plastic worm, I'm telling you, it'll pay off. Well, it's paid off for us today.
Ooh, we've had
I'm
them
talking
today,
about
haven't we?
monsters. Let's get another one. Oh, woo! Son, there's some good-looking reeds up ahead here. There's about 10, 15 miles of reeds here, Bobby. There's plenty of them. I'll guarantee you what, son. We have found the honey hole. Bobby, isn't it a beautiful day to flip?
Boy, it is, isn't it?
Nice and cool.
This
Just
is good
a nice
stuff.
day.
This is good
Gorgeous
stuff
day.
to flip in, too.
I know it. You know, they really have a lot of cover in here. This is just a fantastic situation. Just
Well,
a
you got the right
fantastic-
combination of a lot of things.
Yeah. I like to jig it up and down a bunch, Bobby, you know, because sometimes they'll sit there and they'll see the worm the first couple times you jig it, but after about 20 times of jigging, boy, they just can't stand it. I mean, it just makes them mad. They got to eat that thing.
You know something I found about jigging in this, Roland, this thicker cover, until I've established what their pattern really is on this thicker cover, I'll start and let it go to the bottom and jig it. Then I'll pull it up maybe 6, 8 inches and jig it and do that right on up to where I'm right underneath that cover to see just where they're at on that cover, because a lot of times you can be in 5, 6 feet of water and they're laying up in the upper 2 foot of that water, right up under that cover.
Underneath it. Like with hyacinths. These are old dead hyacinths and old dead bulrushes and just floating vegetation in general. I don't think it makes a whole lot of difference what the floating cover is.
I think just whatever's prevailing in the area.
Yeah. There's a strike, there's a strike. I got him. Oh, son. Hey, I tell you what. Oh, and they didn't quite as big as your fish, Bobby, but I tell you what, he's a nice
that
fish.
one I'll let get away. You just quit ragging me on that.
I'm telling you what.
Get
That's a
off,
nice...
get off.
Hey, I tell you what, that son of a gun there is strong. You know, you get them out in open water, it makes a little bit of difference.
If they'll move that away.
Yeah. I tell you what, I love it, I love it. I love these fish. I tell you, these flipping fish are nice. You know, most of the fish, though, Bobby, wouldn't you agree that most of the fish that you catch are this size and up? Often, this is a little 3-pounder, three or so pound fish.
Right.
But most of the time, you find fish this size and bigger. Flipping the heavy cover like we're doing today.
They're usually a lot better caliber fish. They are.
I'm gonna let him go. Boy, he's a scrappy one. Okay, boy. There we go. I tell you what, that color selector has hit it right on the head. This red-looking two-tone worm has been a real deal today. They're taking it pretty well. And that fish hit again, like the other big one I caught. Mm-hmm. It hit as we were jigging it several times. I jigged.
Well, these the conditions hadn't changed that much, so you know, once they're usually on a pattern like that, they'll stay on that pattern.
You know, the first time I ever fished Lake Okeechobee was probably 20 years ago, and I fell in love with the lake. I remember I came down in the late 60s and fished out of a great big 20-foot boat. We were down on a saltwater trip, and I caught a bunch of 7- and 8-pound fish, but the lake, I fell in love with all the vegetation and all the wildlife you see, and it's a constantly changing lake. So this next trip I came back, it was a different water level, but again, I caught fish. And finally, about 10 years ago, I started making regular trips down here to do film work. And gosh, every time I'd come down here, 5, 6, 8, even 10-pound fish were a regular occurrence. So about 5 years ago, a trailer came available here in Clewiston. I just said, well, I'll buy this little old trailer just for a little winter place, a little place to work out of and spend maybe a month or so fishing and filming. And then my wife got all interested in Clewiston and my family, and we all loved the community. And now we're really committed. We have a nice home here in Clewiston, and I'm now involved with the marina too, because gosh, with fishing almost every day on the lake, it's nice to have a marina to fish out of. So I have just a little bit of everything. It's just the dream of my lifetime, really, to live on a great lake like this and to be able to fish whenever I want for big fish. Hey, Bobby, what do you think of this boat?
I tell you, for the way we're fishing right now, Roland, there's not a finer boat than this, is he?
Well, here at Okeechobee, you know, you have the shallow water and you have to get around a couple feet of water a lot. So it's a good boat for this shallow water.
It's got an ice chest here in it, hasn't it?
Sure.
Right back here. Got a good live well in it. What more do you need?
Needs some big bass. Bobby, I bet living in Palatka like you do, I bet you've caught some monster bass on that St. Johns River, haven't you?
I've got quite a few. that I've got on the wall.
What's your biggest bass?
Just a little over 11 pounds.
I bet you caught him on a plastic worm.
Yeah, you can bet on that, can't you? You sure can.
I don't see you doing a whole lot more than plastic worm fishing. I know I shiner fish and I crankbait fish, but you're primarily a plastic worm fisherman.
I fish probably 95% of the time plastic worms, Roland. There he is, Roland.
You got him? Hey, you got a big one on, man. I'm telling you what, son. That's a big old bass. How big is he?
Man, I don't know, about 10 pounds or more.
10 pounds?
Yeah.
Man, he's in the grass. You got him out of there super, Bobby.
I got him where I want him now.
Yeah, I don't know if he's got you or you got him.
Put this fighting drag over here where it'll take care of him out there. I believe he's got me, Roland. He's got me.
He's got you?
He's got me. Here he comes.
About a 10-pound bass.
Here he comes.
Wait a minute.
Don't you let that get off like that other one did. Don't you let that get off like that other one did.
Wait a minute. There we go.
Ah.
I'll tell you what, Bobby, that is a fine-looking bass. Huh?
Look at there.
What do you think? Whew. Hey, hadn't this been a heck of a day?
I mean,
we've caught some monstrous bass.
well, that's a pretty thing, ain't it?
Well, I tell you what, this daggone flipping will work time and time again. It'll work. So
Sure
folks,
will. Well, you got a hold of him. Go
the
ahead.
next time you want to really catch some big fish, try coming down here to Lake Okeechobee, but try flipping in your local lakes the same way. The heavy cover, the bulrushes, use a good solid flipping stick like you've seen Bobby and I work today, and try using the color combination of the right worm and the right hook.
That color selector makes that color deciding pretty easy, don't
And
it?
the right worm. So folks,
Yeah.
we'll see you again next week. Boy, that's a trophy fish, son. That's over 10 pounds.
That's a jewel, ain't it?
Roland Martins is fishing with professional bass angler and guide Steve Daniel. They're wading the shallow waters of Florida's Big Lake Okeechobee for springtime largemouth bass.
Sit there.
Look, there's a bed right out there, Steve.
Yeah. There's another big one right over there. There's a big bass
That's
on that
a big
one right
bass
there.
over there. I
Yeah.
can see him right here. This whole little bay has got fish
Yeah,
in it.
right here's where I want to fish. There's a big bass
look,
right
look,
there. Yeah.
look, there's another bed. That's about five or six bass beds we've seen here.
There's another great big one right over there. There's a big bass right there.
How big is it?
Look like about 7-8 pounds. Great big
That's a
one.
big fish. Tell you what, this is the deal, Steve.
There's a couple scattered ones
This
in
is
here
the deal.
behind us too.
Let me get down here, shut this thing off.
This really looks good.
Tell you what, we got them. We got some nice looking beds here. Ooh! Well, that's the trick for today. Here we are in Moonshine Bay.
Yeah.
And Steve, you know, you've guided here for a couple years here at Okeechobee. And here are all the airboats running. You know,
Yeah,
that
they're everywhere. Yeah.
That tournament we had last week, it was too shallow. We couldn't get in this spot. And Steve and I flew over the area. We found all these bass back here, and we couldn't catch them in the tournament. So,
It would have been nice to have been able to get back in here.
well, now we got a way to do it now. It's pretty shallow, so I'm gonna jump out. There we go. Let me tie the boat up real quick. Boy, we got the beds here. Okay. Well, I tell you what, Steve. Let's see. The rods that we're going to use today are kind of popping rods, and I think that spoon. I like that spoon for this kind of grass. This is
That's
that
kinda-
heavy grass. Oh, and one other thing, maybe we ought to get prepared and spray for the bugs a little bit.
Yeah, those
That's
bugs
the
are all
other
over
big
these reeds and
Yeah, I
ends
know,
that
little
pepper
few
grass.
mosquitoes. And those little gnats.
Yeah.
I know, well, out in that pepper grass, you really get those gnats going. Steve, you've caught a lot of big fish here at Okeechobee this last year, which you've caught a couple 10-pounders, haven't you?
Yeah, we've caught several big bass.
Oh,
and,
well, 12,
this area
I think
here,
you had a
this
12-pounder.
yeah.
Boy, I tell you. Well, today we're going to wade because these fish are just so shallow. And there's an advantage to wading in the fact that you can stay low and be a lot more quiet. And we've seen 5 or 6 bass beds, so if we can work them over, we might be able to catch one.
Water's real clear and they're real spooky in this clear water.
Oh, I know, it is clear. All this, what is kind of grass? This is a really neat kind of grass.
This needle grass here, isn't it? A lot of it.
Needle grass and joint grass. You know, this Johnson spoon, it's a traditional Okeechobee lure, Steve. I know you've caught some big fish on it in the pepper grass.
Yeah.
But heck, that half-ounce model, that's been my favorite. adjust that weed guard a little bit. And a
Yeah.
little yellow skirt. What's this, 20 pound? What do you have on there,
Yeah, it's
Steve?
20 pound. Yeah.
20 pound line?
Yeah. Need pretty heavy line in this stuff here. You get one of those big 8-9 pounders
I
on
know.
these. They're hard to get out. They're strong. Those beds are right up ahead up here, I believe, Roland. And when we get up here, we ought to be able to get some good bites.
Just a little bit farther.
Yeah. They're right on the edge of that open water out there. They can get a little more sunlight, I guess.
Let's get one. Tell you what, Steve, there's some big bass up here in this monkey box area. Moonshine Bay, that's what they call this. Oh, there's one. I got one now.
That's a good one
I got
there.
one now.
That's big bass. That's 8 or 9 pounder right there.
Oh, man, you talk about a hog, son. Hey, I got a giant on. Oh, Steve.
You may need some help with
Man,
that
I'll
one.
tell you what, he doesn't know how big he is. He thinks he's about 10 pounds. He is about 10 pounds. Son, no, oh, I'll tell you what, he came right off that bed here, Steve. Boy, I'll tell you what, he was a big one. Boy, he's a big fish.
We thought those fish were 5, 6
fish.
pound fish, and they'll look a lot bigger.
See if I can
Look a lot
get
smaller
him.
in the water.
Come on, boy. Wait a minute, he's going around this other way. Wait a minute, Steve. Come on, Bass. Come on back here. Come on back, come on. Come on, come on. Jump one time. Oh, heavens. Got him. How big is he, Steve? Is
Looks
that
like
a
about-
monster?
That's a
Woo,
giant.
son. That's a
Okeechobee
grown
giant.
bass. Tell you what, folks, that's what it's all about when you're fishing in shallow water. These big bed bass. You know, one thing about it, though, this is undoubtedly a spawning female. And the whole secret with a big 9-pound fish like this is that she's going to have other 9-pound
Yeah.
fish somewhere down the line, and we don't want to rob her chances of producing more fish like that. So I'm going to have to let this one go. I tell you, she's just a beauty, folks. I love them when they're that size. Okay, boys, swim away to be caught again another day. Folks, that's what it's all about. Well, today we're using basically heavy tackle. We're using a 6.5-foot casting rod. In fact, this is one I had the Shimano folks make me up on a presentation model, and I'm so proud of it. It has my name on it and everything. I took a recent trip to Japan. They gave me this rod. Gorgeous maroon color. And I'll have that with 20-pound line. Aren't you using 20, Steve?
Yeah, we got 20 on.
Steve has a similar rod, popping rod, 6.5 feet, and we both have high-speed 5-to-1 casting reels with a good drag. And that's a 1/2-ounce spoon. And it's got a good sharp hook, and again, a yellow skirt. If you notice that the way that thing swims, it just swims. I want to show the camera just for a second. It swims really enticingly. Now that guy there, he's watching, he's looking for bass beds, and I think that's the secret for today's fishing. Take an airboat like we have today, spot these beds in the bedding area, and then get out and fish them low to the water like Steve and I are doing today. Getting some big ones, son. Steve, speaking of catch and release, I think you've caught a whole bunch and released a whole bunch of big bass this year, haven't you?
We've I've caught probably 250 fish and released them.
Over
you know.
6 pounds, right?
Over 6 pounds, yeah.
Boy, that's something
Big
else.
bass.
I tell you, that catch and release program is really working. You know, we're catching a lot of these fish over and over again.
Yeah, we got a little place right out there in Coop Bay. I've got a little spot I stop out there, and gosh, a lot of the fish I've caught have got hook marks in them. The same 8-9 pounders, some of them that we've caught before and released, and fish are really doing good. They're real healthy when we catch them again.
So like if you catch
know it's working.
3 or 4 bass, sometimes you catch the same one or two of them be the ones that you've caught before.
Yeah, I guarantee you we're catching a lot of the same ones, yeah. We're getting close to some of those beds over here again now.
Boy, I tell you, there's a lot of beds here. Well, you know, like on a good day, say if you're either lure fishing, how many big bass would you catch a day? Say about 3 or 4?
Yeah, 3 or 4 on a real good day, yeah.
But now shiner fishing,
There
you
he
got
is,
one.
there he is, Roland.
Hey, you got one now. Hey, way to go, Steve. Wow, look at that fish go. Woo, son. Boy, that is a big one. Hey, I tell you what, see, that is a big fish.
Boy, he hit me kind of
Woo,
close to the
son.
boat, too.
Hold him up, bud. I'm glad
That's
you have
7,
a
8
20-pound
pound fish
line.
right there,
Hey,
yeah.
that's at least 7 pounds. I'm talking about a nice one. I'm talking
see if
about
I
a
can
good
get
one. Son, I'll guarantee
Boy, he
you
swallowed
what.
that spoon, too. He took that thing deep.
That's a big fish. Oh, I tell you what, that's great.
That is a nice bass
these big
right there.
spawners are something.
Yeah.
They're really nice
But
fish.
she's just full of eggs,
That's
yeah.
really something else.
That was a big old bed right over there.
Oh,
too.
yeah. I just stepped
She was
in
right
one
on
right
that
here.
bed.
I went down. Look at that.
Yeah.
See, I'm up, down, and I went down to the bed. It's an old bed. It's not. You know, you got to be careful when you're wading not to destroy these beds. You know. Well, that's a nice fish. Look at that.
Well, that's a
fish.
pretty fish right there.
Boy, I tell you what. That's at least maybe 7.5 pounds.
Yeah,
That's going to be
at
your
least
251st big
yeah,
bass
big
this year.
bass. Let's turn her loose and let her get back on that
Okay,
bed over there. and
okay, okay.
She'll be fine.
Yeah, let's let her go, Steve.
Okay. Yeah, she's
Boy,
gonna be
that's a nice
fine.
one.
Yeah.
Boy, she's a nice fish.
She went right back to that bed.
Yeah, I
too.
bet she'll be on that bed again tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the fry that she'll lay will probably be like her, say 7 or 8 pound fish. Boy, that's something else.
Let's see, right over here and try to get another one. There's some more beds right up
I
here
know,
off this
there were a
little
bunch
point.
of beds here. I tell you what, there's plenty more places after we finish, you know, right in here. We ought to get back in the airboat and see if we can't find another
Yeah, we
patch
saw
of those
some big beds out there. Yeah.
Boy, there were a bunch of them here. Oh,
There's
yeah,
one.
you got another.
There's
Hey,
another
you got
big
ano-
one.
You got another. Hey, I'm hung up.
Boy, that looks good right
I'm
there.
hung in the bulrushes
That's another
here.
big bass. Right
Hey,
there.
that's another big bass. Son,
6 pound maybe.
I tell you what, son, you're banging them out.
Come on in here.
What do you think, son? Hell,
Another
look at
good
that.
bass. Another
Hey,
good
look at that.
Okeechobee largemouth.
I tell you what, that's a nice
That's
fish.
5.5, 6
Oh
pound
yeah,
fish.
that's a nice fish, Steve.
Let's turn
a
him
good one.
loose.
Well, I tell you what, we're getting them today, son. They're here.
Well, they're liking these spoons.
They really are. Oh boy, that dropped in the hole there. That's an old bass bed or something, Steve.
I stepped in
God,
one while
look
ago.
how deep it is. It's gotten real deep. Now I come back up. Boy, that's a deep hole.
I'm glad I didn't step in.
I mean, that's a whole foot deeper. I'm telling you, that's something else. Wow. There's one. I got one.
That's a good bass there,
Yeah,
Roland.
well, I don't know how big he is.
Oh,
Hey, son, he thinks he's a monster. He thinks he's
another
about 10
5-pounder.
pounds. I tell you what, I love it. I love these fish when they just are great. These are all nice spawning fish, a couple, 3 or 4 pounds. Tell you what, they're just a pleasure to catch. They really deserve to be caught again another day. And that's the whole trick about a catch and release like we're doing today. But that is so nice. Isn't he pretty, Steve?
That's a pretty fish.
In this clear water, he just shows up so well. Just show the folks at home how pretty he is in the water. Golly day, he's just a nice one. I'll tell you what, Steve, it's fun just spotting all these beds. I love just riding that airboat. Just
Yeah, this is a ball up
Heck,
here.
we s-
Everybody ought to try this. A lot of beds in here.
what's that? Yeah, look at that.
That's a big bass right there.
He's over here, and maybe in about 5 minutes he'll hit. Boy, there's a big bunch of bad weather coming in.
Yeah, that's a strong front coming in here. We're gonna.
Big strong front. Oh, there's another bed right here. Oh, gosh, this is gonna be good. Let me tie up right here. This is the spot.
This looks good.
This is the spot. You know, Steve, today we're using that Johnson spoon, but you know, really a surface plug, either a Paula type of surface plug or like a devil horse type, that works good. And I know you like to worm fish. Now,
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
You're a fantastic worm fisherman. I know you've caught a lot of big fish in the shallow water on worms. But really, there's any number of ways to catch fish in this depth water.
You know, Roland, sometimes these pockets pay off real good. It's real calm water back there, and they spawn a lot back in there.
They spawn a lot in those pockets, you're right. I'd say pockets would be, but you know, Pockets are probably the best, but you know, these points, you can't really undersell the points because particularly a feeding fish, whether he's spawning or not, he might be spawning on the point. But I prefer a point a whole lot. I'll throw past the point and swim that thing along. Oh, there's one. Got him. Got him. I got him now. I got him now. Boy, he hit right on that point.
That's a good bass right there.
Woo! Hey, Steve. What are you talking about, son? Oh, whoa. Oh, I tell you what. There's nothing wrong with him. He thinks he's about 10 pounds. He isn't quite that big, but he's a nice bass. He's a nice bass. Yes, sir. I love it. I love it. Okay, boy. Come on. One more time. One more time. One more time. I tell you what. Now that fish was right on the point, right on that windy point, Steve. He was just right there, right, just as good. Okay, come on, bass. Okay, there we go.
Nice
a little
fish.
5-pounder. That's not a bad fish. Not as big as the ones you're catching, Steve. He's all right.
Yeah, that's a nice fish anywhere.
Let him go and see if he...
We might ought to start working
another
some of
day.
these points.
You know, another trick that both you and I are doing on today's fishing, Steve, is this skirt. You know, a lot of people, they don't know how to put these skirts on a spoon.
Yeah.
But both Steve and I are putting the skirt on the same way. With a spoon like this, we're putting the skirt on straight rather than reverse. Like with spinnerbait fishing, often you'll reverse the skirt. But by keeping it straight like this, it makes it swim better. It really gives it more action. And another thing that Steve and I did, we pulled some of this off. It was a little bit too bushy at first, and we pulled a lot of that rubber off. But it seems like it wobbles better. If you have too much skirt on there, it just goes bushy. It just goes straight. You have to get that spoon to wobble good. That's what we have today. Well, that's a good looking point.
Well, there's 3 or 4 points up through there. We'll probably get a fish off every one of them.
Boy. Aren't there any little fish here?
I don't know. We hadn't got any today. I tell you, it's kind of a unique day. It's unusual.
Hey, Steve, how would you like to be able to wade in tournaments like this?
Well, I'd like to have been able to wade last weekend. I'd like to get in here for sure.
See, Steve and I are both fishing the National Tournament Trail. In fact, last year, Steve had an outstanding year. He made the Bassmaster Classic. In fact, finished 3rd in the Bassmaster Classic, and so had a great year. And this year, you're doing pretty well again. So he looks like he'll go back to his home lake of where's the home lake classic going to be this year?
Chickamauga, Nickajack Lake.
Chickamauga, and Steve is from Chattanooga, so that's going to be the deal. If you make the classic this year, Steve, you might well win it.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I just hope I get there right now.
The only problem is we can't wade when we fish tournaments. We have to fish out of a boat, but it's sure fun wading. These little trails back here, I tell you what, it's spooky.
Yeah, you get lost back in here if you're not careful.
This is some spooky stuff.
Well, it's kind of mushy right back there.
Boy, there's really some good stuff on the bottom. This is that's hydrilla.
Yeah.
Oh, look, here's yeah, that's eelgrass right here. There's a big patch of it. Here's a big patch of eelgrass. Eelgrass right here. Good looking
That
stuff.
eelgrass looks good. This point right up here looks good too.
Yeah. That looks real good. Here's a bunch more eelgrass.
Yeah.
Tell you, those bass will bed around that eelgrass.
Yeah,
They
it's
like
hard,
that
hard
stuff.
bottom right in here.
Sure.
Man. You can walk real good in here.
It's real good. Oh, I guarantee you there's some fish here now, so. Hey, you got one. Hey, boy, you got a good one there, Steve.
Lean him out
Huh?
again. Out of them reeds
You got a
there.
nice one, son.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Woo!
Come back here. Well, I'm glad I've got 20-pound line on here.
Now that long rod is nice to hold in tight like that.
Boy, you
can
get
put
some good leverage
pressure.
with 'em,
You
yeah.
can really do that. That's a good rod for these big bass. Oh, son, I'm talking about a big one.
That's a good one there.
He was a latent power. Now I'm telling you what, that's a nice
I'll tell you
one.
what, I don't want.
Ooh. Boy, I tell you what, there's nothing wrong with him. Huh? Boy, I tell you what, he thinks he's about 10 pounds.
Come back here.
That's a good one. Golly day. I love it. I tell you what, these fish are something.
Well, I'm going to have to walk him down.
Tell you what,
Come
he's a
back
good
here.
fish. He's a good fish. Yeah, Steve. All right.
That's about the same size as yours.
Yeah, but he's humpbacked. Look at that. Well, I guess not. Maybe you're just holding him like that.
Well, spoon just fell right out of there.
That's
a pretty fish.
Yeah, boy.
That's about the same size that last
Yeah, I
one.
know.
caught.
They're good fishing here. No question about it.
Let's turn this one loose.
Okay. There we go.
I'll straighten my skirt back up here. We're gonna work some more of these points. He was right.
What do you think? Up to the right? There's all kinds
Oh,
of
it looks good up through there, yeah. Well, down here, you never know when you're gonna get one of those big 10, 11-pound bass. Well, I'd like to catch one out here.
Steve, I see that you're not afraid of alligators. No, I tell you
Wait
what.
till we see one.
There's really no alligator problem in this lake because all the cottonmouths killed them. You know, I've talked to all the locals, and there's never been a case of an alligator attack on any fisherman. And every day there's probably a couple hundred people waiting like we're waiting today.
Mm-hmm.
And never, not one time has there been a case of anybody being attacked by an alligator. But you know what? This sounds crazy. I did step on one once. It was a small one. And I was wading along like this. And, you know, he wasn't really big. He was just a couple feet long. But when I kicked into him with my feet, he took off so fast, his tail wrapped around my leg, and I thought something had me. I mean, I just fell over backwards. Little old gator, he wasn't very big. But he just scared the life out of me.
I'd have probably died.
Well, this daggone equipment casts like a charm, doesn't it? These half-ounce spoons go about a mile.
Yeah, they do. They're really easy to fish in all this grass.
I tell you what, Steve, it's been a lot of fun today.
Oh, it's been a blast.
Caught some beautiful fish. Well, I've lost a couple good fish, but you know, all in all, it's been a heck of a day. Well, I tell you what, it's been a neat day. I guarantee you what, it's been some kind of day.
What's the needle grass up here looks good? There's all
Yeah.
kind of grass in here.
Yeah.
Just all kinds. All kinds of different structure.
I got one. Hey, I got one.
You got one? That's a good fish there, Roland. That's another good fish.
Huh?
He was all
not
phases.
as big as the others. Oh, son! Hey, I love it. How many to tell you?
Well, we made a big boil out there. It looked good.
I tell you what, son, this is all right. I love these old bass. Get this daggone drag. Hey, boys. Okay, Okeechobee special. Oh, look. I'll tell you what, folks. Listen, the next time you're down South Florida way and you want to catch some big bass and have some action like Steve and I are having today, stop by Lake Okeechobee, look up old Steve Daniels, and he'll take you out for some big ones. This isn't the big one for today, but I'll guarantee you it's representative of the fine action we've had. And Steve, I want to thank you very much for
I enjoyed it.
fishing with me because we've had a good time today. So, folks, we'll see you next week. We better get back.
Rio Grande, heading for that hot spot down by the Sandy Cooper Dam. Great American fisherman, he'll fish anywhere. Anywhere there's water, Lord knows he'll be there. He's just like a gypsy, mighty hard to hold. The great American fisherman's got fishing in his soul.